What's going on, Badger Nation? Welcome to the PPC Den podcast, your source for all things Amazon advertising techniques and strategy. Let's get that ACOS under control. I am joined by Ryan again. And Ryan, it is incredibly hot out there in many parts of America right now. I hope the internet stays on and that the internet pipes don't melt as we're having this episode.
I see the plastic melting off the wires and the wires going away. Is my face still on me? It is very, very hot. You're in Austin. Give me a temperature gauge there. How hot is it?
Believe it or not, it's actually a kind of cooler. It's like 95 degrees out. And for those in Celsius, I'll tell you right now, 95 F to C, 35 Celsius out there. So it's pretty warm, but Austin's always hot. It's kind of crazy seeing like the Pacific Northwest be 116. My wife really wants to move to the Pacific Northwest because of Austin's heat. And now I'm like, well, we can't go. It's as hot there as it is here. There's everywhere is hot. It is
100. We had a couple days where it was 111 here, 112. It's just hot. I'm in Northern California, but I'm up in the valley, up I-5 in Redding. But I'll tell you this last weekend, we drove to the mountains. We drove up to Mount Lassen and went to one of my favorite lakes up at Mount Lassen National Park. It was like 87 degrees. We don't have the humidity, and it was perfect. It was like, it was perfect. So
yes.
I had a little bit of reprieve.
Yeah, if you can find a body of water and go tubing, jumping in it, more power to you. Just don't get back to your keyboard with your hands all wet. Otherwise, you will break your keyboard. Because we're going to give you lots of good stuff today. Ryan, the topic that we're going to be talking about today is something that came up in our internal PPC team meetings. Almost everybody talked about it. It came up on client calls over the last few weeks. We were on another call with Amazon advertising consultants. It came up on that call too. Yep.
It's everywhere.
Anywhere you turn, this topic is becoming more and more important, pertinent and important. So it's really, really interesting. And, at the start of the show, I said, hey, the show helps you get your ACOS under control, helps you wrangle that ACOS. And we talk about tons and tons of PPC things to do to get that ACOS under control. Obviously, bidding, budgeting, campaign structure, targeting, all of those ins and outs, all of the things that we have 100 plus episodes on optimizing your PPC. But it's actually two things. Your ACOS is actually two things. It is the components of your PPC and, drum roll please, Ryan. Yes, thank you. What is the second component of ACOS?
Conversion rate. For those of you who can't see me, I got my hands up. Conversion rate.
Yes.
Unit session percentage inside Amazon. Conversion rate. It's a very big component.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And I also want to say out there to everyone who is a PPC-er only and not a business owner. So all the PPC freelancers out there, this is probably one of the most frustrating parts of optimizing a PPC campaign. And it's frustrating for everyone, but it's especially for PPC contractors, freelancers, people that work at agencies, because a lot of times you're hired to optimize PPC. And what do you do when you're looking at some brand analytics report and you're seeing some of the top competitors for these particular keywords have conversion rates way higher than your client? You can only do so much inside PPC. It really is only half the battle. You can lower bids, you can play with targeting, you can not advertise on things that don't have a high conversion rate, only focus on the high converting rate things. But what do you do if you're trying to scale that campaign? You need to try to be looking for new campaigns, new ad types, new keywords to throw in there. And what do you do if there's a sort of thread that ties all of them together, which is the poor product conversion rate? It's incredibly frustrating to optimize a PPC campaign for a product that has a tough conversion rate. That's we're kicking off a series here today, and the series is going to be covering the importance of conversion rate, which I think we already know, but specifically trying to come up with a series of checklists for if you're optimizing PPC campaigns and you're looking at that ACOS and you're struggling with that ACOS and you've done so many things in your PPC to attack that ACOS, a checklist of conversion rate boosters that are outside of the PPC campaigns. And there is a ton of them. And Ryan, you've been selling on Amazon for several years now. So you're in tune with this. Do you think, this is a real trend that CPCs will go up, and yes, you can do tons of things in your PPC campaigns to mitigate that, and get strategic with it, stay ahead of the curve, taking advantage of the first mover advantage of all these new ad types, all these different things. But globally, CPCs will probably continue to go up. Have you seen this in your own business, and how do you sort of think about this? Is this something that worries you, or is this something that excites you, this new challenge? Tell me how you think about this.
It can worry me if, no one likes the idea of, increased costs of CPC. Whenever you have more popular traffic sources, that is bound to happen. But like in any business, the question is, what systems are you putting into place to make sure that your business is moving in the right direction? What's your business model? Mm-hmm. And what's the strategy that you are executing to ensure that your business and your business model will succeed? That's the way that, when you're looking at numbers every day and those things fluctuate and those things go up and down, I think for me, it's important to have a mindset of, okay, what's my continued plan of action business model to make sure that we are going to grow successfully, that we're going to provide value for the customer. And
Yeah. I had an amazing business coach, Tim Conley. You can look him up. He's on YouTube. He's fantastic.
Shout out Tim.
And shout out Tim. One of the things that he told me one time, I was talking to him. I was super stressed out. I don't exactly remember. This was years ago. And he's like, hey, the reason we often get stressed out in business is because we feel like we don't have a plan and we're trying to problem solve without a plan. So let's plan this out. What's going to be our strategy and techniques to get this done? What's the plan behind that? And that's I think of that all the time. Anytime I'm stressed out with anything related to business, it's like, there's a plan in here somewhere.
Sure. Let's
go find it. A lot of times it involves a spreadsheet.
Absolutely. For me, it was, and this is a shout out too, is the book E-Myth Revisited.
Oh, yeah.
And the stat in the beginning of that book, 95% of businesses will fail in the first 5 years, and 90% of the businesses that make it past 5 years will fail. And what's the key distinction of those that make it over a decade? You have systems that work. You have systems in your business that you make work. And when working your business to working your systems, that's key. And that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. So.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I sometimes get frustrated where there might be a problem. Okay, rising CPCs, and somebody might say, "Oh, just do this one thing," and I'm in my head, that always grinds on me a little bit, because it's like, that's not a plan. That's like a thing that you can do, but like, where does that plug into a larger plan? Like, that's what I'm always trying to think about. So that's sort of what we're hoping to do with this series that we're going to be publishing over the next couple of weeks, is really just, what are the non-PPC components that boost conversion rate, which influence your ACOS. And I just wanted to run a couple examples. Our buds at Tenuity put out a little stat recently. They said that for sponsored products from this past Prime Day 2021 versus Prime Day 2020, that they saw CPCs on sponsored products go up 19%. For 3% less clicks and only 5% more sales. So that was kind of crazy. I know this Prime Day was weird. And we didn't talk about it on the show, but basically, Prime Day generally has like a big leap every year of just like, wow, they broke even more sales records. And I think this year, the general vibe is, yeah, it went up, but not as big of a leap as previous years. And I wonder what role CPC had to play. But I think, in general, this was just a weird timing for Prime Day. A lot of the country is reopening. So I think a lot of people are just like out and about, and they're not maybe thinking about shopping.
Yeah, it's summertime too. Summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Prime Day was in the fall of last year, the biggest 4 months. Yeah.
So yeah, I almost feel like when they had time to queue it up, it was always massive. It's like people knew it was coming. It's sort of like Christmas in July. It's like the halfway point. So I just think maybe there were a couple of factors that made Prime Day like still a fantastic day for sales, but not as big of a gigantic leap as it was previously. So CPCs will go up. I saw this in, before dedicating myself entirely to Amazon ads. I'd always done Amazon ads like way back when, before they had a lot of the complexity that they have now. But I was doing e-commerce ads for Facebook ads and Google ads and Amazon ads since like, I don't know, maybe 2011 or so. And I noticed the same thing happen in Google ads and Facebook ads in the early days. And now it's sort of happening in Amazon ads where, in Google ads, Facebook ads, when you're able to get clicks for sub 50 cents, sub 25 cents, the quality of your landing page or your product page, you kind of got away with it. Like it didn't really matter too much because you were able to get traffic so cheap, whether you had a 10% or 11% conversion rate wasn't going to cause you to go from good results to great. It wasn't going to change the game for you. It mattered, of course, it always mattered, but because the traffic was so cheap, the return on ad spends were always so great. And I think that even in the past few years, like 2016, 2017, and now we're at 2020, but I mean, we'll be at 2022 before you know it. I think that the same kind of trend that more competition, more CPCs causes an increase in CPCs. And then because of that, the conversion rate, the rate at which people buy from you after they view your product page is going to become more and more important. And I actually have this cool stat here.
This is super cool, by the way. I love this stuff. When we were going over this, I think this is very fascinating. Yeah. So yes, this
thing that I'm about to read off.
Yeah.
I love reading spreadsheets to people on a podcast.
Come on.
So here is a little hypothetical example. I have two scenarios where your base conversion rate, again, the rate at which people buy from you, is 10%. That's your base. And then how does your ACOS change if you move it from 10% to 11% or 10% to 12%? So here's a basic example. Let's say your base is 10% conversion rate. You get 100 clicks at $1 CPC. That's a spend of $100. So you just spent $100 to get 100 clicks. You have a 10% conversion rate. So 10% of those clicks are going to turn into orders. Let's say you had order value of $20. So that 10 orders, $20 order, that's $200 of revenue. Your ACOS is 50%. Now, of course, you can do all kinds of things to optimize that 50% ACOS, get it down. But even if you don't do anything to your PPC and you improve your conversion rate to 11%, so now instead of getting 10 orders, you got 11 orders. You got an extra $20 of revenue in this example of 100 clicks. You spent the same amount. You spent, $100 to get 100 clicks at $1, except now instead of $200 in revenue, you did $220. Your ACOS has just changed from 50% to 45%. That is a 9% decrease in your ACOS from 50% to 45%. That's a 9% decrease. It's 45.45%, which is at 9%. But it's nearly a 10% decrease change in your ACOS from a 1-point movement on your conversion rate from 10 to 11%.
Wow.
If you look at it from a 10 to 12% conversion rate, instead of $200 of revenue at a 10% conversion rate, you'd have $240 in revenue. And then your conversion with that 12% conversion rate, instead of a 50% ACOS, it would now be 41%, which is about a 17% improvement in your ACOS. So this is coming. This isn't even a record-breaking conversion rate change. We're just talking from 10% conversion rate to 11% or 10% to 12%. Your ACOS can change from 50 to 45 or 50 to 41. And that's without even throwing in PPC optimization on top of that. So the impact of just 1 percentage point, again, 10% to 11% is not a 1% change. That's a 1 percentage point change. So a 1 percentage point change can have a massive change in your ACOS. What I'm seeing is a lot more of my friends in PPC, people that listen to the show that I communicate with, friends that come on the show. The vibe is generally conversion rate was always important, but now it's like being shoved right in their face, and they're sort of saying, should we be incorporating conversion rate boosting tips to our PPC clients? Should we have some kind of thing for them? Should we enhance our offering to them so that, we can optimize the PPC and we can go in and optimize conversion rate? The exact same trend happened in Google Ads, where you'd have your Google Ads optimizer, and then that same team would also have on Google Ads. It's a lot more complicated because you have to go into Shopify and you have to know Shopify, or you'd be going into WordPress or Magento or some other e-commerce platform. So you would need a lot of expertise, but because everybody's on Amazon, will the PPC person also be responsible for conversion rate stuff? Will there be somebody else on the team who's responsible for conversion rate stuff? I think the answer to both of those is probably a little bit of both. So I think the scope of PPC optimization sort of expanding to ACOS optimization. And one of these components of ACOS is conversion rate. And conversion rate, a lot of it, you can obviously change conversion rate in PPC, but there's a lot of on product page stuff that can happen. So we're starting a series, Ryan.
Yes.
And it's sort of conversion rate boosters, how we're thinking about it, how we're going to be incorporating this in to our clients. So this episode is really an overview of some of the things that we're going to be talking about. We won't be getting into any true detail here, but we just wanted to run through sort of the preview of what we're going to get into deeper over the next couple episodes. So kick us off with, your overview of the sort of first component of conversion rate.
When I'm looking at conversion rate, so let's just be clear here. When you get into your business reports, you're going to look at unit session percentage. That's typically the metric that you're going to be looking at. Yes, to take into a few things into consideration when you're looking at the unit session percentage. That is, you have sometimes customers will buy multiple products, so you'll have one-time buyers versus those that are buying multiple. Those are changes in your unit session percentage. But yeah, I would say some of the overall conversions, the overall components of the conversion rate are the customer psychology, right? When we say customer psychology, we're talking about the process that someone goes through when they click on a product to when they, click the add to cart. And there's a process that consumer goes through to get to that end point. Different people like different products, right? So you could have the same product, but you have two different consumers, right? And so there could be two different products from two different sellers that are applying to a couple different audiences.
Yeah. The psychology of the buyer is so interesting. It weaves into the second one, which is product market fit. I talk to people sometimes and they sometimes say my product is the absolute best. I put so much work into it. I got all the images perfect, and they may have never talked to a single customer in the creation of this. They like found this opportunity maybe, and like sometimes you can get lucky, like you could be your own customer, like you could be scratching your own itch. But I feel like understanding how people buy, what things are important to them, what would make them averse to something, what would make them really drawn to something, I think is so paramount. Like actually talking and understanding your buyers, your customers' psychology, absolutely massive.
Huge.
That component is something that your probably very best competitors are doing on a pretty regular basis, like understanding the market. What are people looking for? What kind of variations should we be coming out with? Do people like how this is packed or not? Do we have any data on that? Have we talked to people about it? So paramount. I don't think, it's the makings of a good entrepreneur to like constantly be talking to people. One of the major advantages of having this podcast is I talk to hundreds of people throughout the year, all about their different situations. And I'm always asking them like, oh yeah, like what other topics would you want to hear about on the podcast? And it's like the most invaluable thing. So I feel like, when I talk to friends who are super successful on Amazon, like they're kind of doing the same thing. They're like, oh, I saw that a lot of people I was talking to a lot of customers and I really noticed they wanted this add-on to go in with the product, or they really wanted this variation. And they're just constantly thinking of how do I make my product have better product market fit. So we have,
No, I was going to give a plug and just bounce off what you're saying to your search term reports. If you're a business owner, right? What is a great way to figure out what your customers want? What are they searching for? Right? That is my wife and I give a shout out to my wife. We run our company as a team, and she's a rock star, and she's strong where I'm not. And we dove into our search term report and we found a variation, and I started scratching my head. I was like, this is too good to be true. That we found a high number of impressions of people that were searching this, and no one was offering it on Amazon, which is very rare to have a, blue ocean item on Amazon, right? That's a great way to jump in and to see what your customers want. If you are a business owner and you understand PPC, you probably should be diving into the search term reports and taking a look and see what your customers want.
Yeah, product research, product market fit, market analysis, that kind of thing. That kind of leads into this third thing, which is like understanding competitor and industry trends. And, not being obsessed with your competition, but just sort of being aware more so of like industry trends, of like what's going on, what are people looking for? Like these first three are sort of very closely related. I don't have too much more to say about like just understanding what's going on out there. I think the important thing about the competitor analysis is like understanding, because fortunately or unfortunately, people are making a lot of judgments when they're on Amazon, snap judgments. And it can be as simple as, oh, this person has more stars. Like, just give me that thing. Like, I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like, spending 20 minutes on Amazon. I'm just going to search it. I'm going to find something that's good enough, passable. It's got great stars. It's prime. I'm going to buy it. And there could be people that follow very quick. And this kind of ties, these all tie together. That's psychology there. So like doing competitor analysis to be sure that you are, when people are doing that analysis, you are really putting your best foot forward. So like the reviews, like all of those things, very important to know where you stack up in terms of the competition. I talk to a lot of people that sometimes will say, hey, I've been struggling. And, in 30 seconds, it's like, oh, well, your competition has 5x the reviews you have. They're at like 4.7. And you have, a fifth of that, and you're at, a 4, something like that. So I think understanding where you stand is an important part of, am I doing everything I can to hit that conversion rate as hard as I possibly can?
For sure. absolutely. I think you covered it. You covered it well.
And I mean, that kind of leads into review strategy, which is that next one, understanding where you stack up, understanding your own review strategy. Amazon periodically will come out with new enhancements that you can take advantage of to bolster that review strategy. If it's not out yet, I'm almost positive it's coming, where you're able to, properly email people like after they purchase, almost in like a sequence type thing. I just saw this not too long ago. I don't have any more details other than that, but like Amazon knows how important reviews are, and they want their products to be well reviewed in terms of count. So yeah, understanding what your own review strategy is.
Yeah, I think that, and again, our audience can correct me if I'm wrong, because I literally just heard about this last week as well. But I think it's something like they're allowing you to write customers that gave you a 3-star review.
I saw that.
Yeah, 3.5, or something like that. And I don't know much detail about it, but some friends of mine are very excited about that. So, and I think it's a smart move on Amazon's behalf, because it's helping the business owner to meet the needs of the customer. And I think that's a smart move.
Yeah. It's called, the thing that I was referring to is Amazon's Manage Your Customer Engagement tool. Lets you send email campaigns to Amazon customers who have purchased products from you in your Amazon store. Send everything from new product launch announcements, offer promotions, inspire repeat purchases. So this is something that's relatively new. But the Manage Your Customer Engagement tool, pretty interesting. So anyway, the point is, we'll get into some of the finer nooks and crannies of a review strategy, because that's one major component to your conversion rate. And last,
can I throw something in there real quick? Have a good product. You want good reviews? Have a good product. And if it's not good, change it. So just have a
product
good
market fit. Yep. Product market fit. Create something that people love, and the rest is really easy. A lot of these things happen automatically if you've really nailed that. And last but not least, product page. And instead of calling this product page like work, make sure images are good, video, title, A+, so on and so forth. I'm going to say, instead of making sure that they're good, I don't even care if they're good. You need to ongoingly optimize them, meaning like perfection is not the goal, because you'll never get there. It's the act of continuously poking, prodding, testing, trying to improve it, and not really being satisfied with it. And of course, you don't need to go nuts and do 30 image changes in 30 days or anything like that. But it should be part of your ongoing optimization process of asking yourself, is there anything that I can do here to make it easier to buy from me, more compelling, more informed, so that customers can make more informed decisions? So that product page, ongoing optimization, I think, is the key there.
Absolutely. And I just have a few, this is a whole long conversation. I just have a few thoughts on it. Test, right? Grab a point. If you're testing, grab a point. Test one thing at a time, right? This is my opinion, because we have a list here. We have, you have your images, you have video, you have the title, the bullets, the A+ content. If you make complete image stack change and you have a win, you don't necessarily know why it won. But if you're rotating the second image with the third image, just switching spots to see, which of those images maybe bring a point to your conversion, that's something that you say, okay, I know that this one specific test worked, and it's leading me to a bigger change. When you're testing a whole bunch of stuff at the same time, and I had mentioned this in the beginning of the show, systems. What systems you have in your business are you continuing to optimize your listings for success? Because as Michael shared in those numbers, if you grab a point here or there, it can make a drastic effect on your ACOS, on your ads. It goes hand in hand, in my opinion. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah. So in the next episodes that we'll put on, and it'll go out over the course of the next few weeks, potentially months, because a lot of this stuff we want to hit on. But of course, we'll have like PPC updates and PPC strategy to intermix in there. So this sort of PPC boosters to help you increase your conversion rates, to make PPC be an easier endeavor, is exactly what we're going to be talking about. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited personally to get in and start incorporating some of these things, because, I mentioned like, what are PPCers doing now to begin incorporating it? And, will the PPCer's role begin to extend out? I think first and foremost, we need to list what these things are and talk about how to incorporate a system to, help people with it. So that's what we're going to be doing here over the next couple of weeks. And Brian, I hope you stay cool during this heat wave.
Yes.
And and if you're listening out there, I hope you find a nice body of water to jump into. I keep on seeing these things. I think they're called cowboy pools or something like that. It's like a stainless steel pot that like you could fill up, and it's like the size of a hot tub, but like you could just drop it in your backyard. And I think I have a friend who has one, so I might hit them up.
Man, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, have a good one, everyone. And I will see you next time here on the PPC Den podcast. Thanks, Ryan. Bye-bye.
Take care, y'all.